Commissioner Mahler as Judge Pro Tem today.
Do I have a second? I didn't figure I would.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
It's time to get a chicken fried steak out of that.
Aye. And you probably will. All opposed, same sign. All right, let's get started with the invocation, and I have those duties this morning, so please rise. Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you today so glad that we live in the greatest land that's ever been on your earth. Lord, we take our freedoms and our privileges for granted sometimes, and we'd ask that you help us not to do that, to cherish the freedom to worship that we have here, cherish the freedom of speech that we have, cherish the freedom to come together, even in this Commissioner's Court, and work for the good of the people of Wichita County. Lord, we'd ask that you would be with our first responders. We would ask that you would be with our military people as they protect us around the world, both globally and locally. Lord, we just ask that you'd go with each and every one of us. We'd ask that you bless this county family as the trials and tribulations of life sneak into all of our lives from time to time. Lord, thank you for giving up your precious Son to save us from our sins. These things we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas Pledge.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We got any presentations, Nancy? No. Okay, let's move on to the consent agenda. A very lengthy consent agenda, as a matter of fact.
Bear with me, Judge,
Okay.
1 second.
Pull it up. You're not loaded up yet.
Well, I thought it was a question or two. I wanted to make sure that we amend item 19. That was the wood chipper.
Oh, right. It says tire chipper, but it's really a wood chipper.
Also, Billy not here this morning. Was item 18 concerning the American National lease, was that one of two payments on Mark's truck? Is that what that is?
I'm not sure.
Willie, do you know?
The down payment wasn't on the last agenda.
It's item 18 on the $51,000 to American National Leasing.
Should say on the paperwork here. Let me look.
Yeah, that's the down payment. He had, on the previous court order, there wasn't anything about a down payment on that, and
There's
the lease payment was the one on the previous court order.
Okay.
yeah, down payment 51.
So we'll have one more, we'll have another payment. We have two payments on that. It's just a 2-year deal.
I believe the first payment, don't quote me on this, but I believe the first payment's not until 2020 on that.
Okay.
Payment number 1, February of 20. Now, is that 73 or is that 37?
Well, it would be, this must be the residual, Barry.
I would assume, yeah. But to answer your question, that is the down payment. So. Any other questions on the consent agenda?
I make a motion we accept the consent agenda as presented, except changing item 19 from tire chipper to wood chipper.
A motion by Commissioner Harvey. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Watts. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0. Moving on to general business, review and approve the regular bills for payment.
Judge, after reviewing the bills on Friday, I'd make a motion that we pay.
Motion by Commissioner Watts. Do I have a second?
Second with discussion.
Okay.
We pulled one of those bills out.
What was it? I can't remember.
It was Mark Brewer Lasers.
Oh, yeah, the lasers.
Let's table that bill Bob, if that's okay. There was a question about a $3,700 invoice that, and there were actually 3 of them, all to the same company from Constable Brewer for laser sights and such. And if we could hold those back, and I
Did you
don't
pull
have
it
the.
out? We didn't pull it out, did we, Lee?
We did.
I thought we did, and I think the judge may have them, Bob, but I can't remember the name of that. Will, where would that be from?
Judge has got it on his.
Okay.
Okay, as long as they're pulled out stacked, in other words.
I think it is, yeah.
Okay, all right.
That we tabled the action on that particular invoices.
We'll make note of that. Any other discussion on the bills? Anything from the audience? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Move on to, it passed 3-0. Move on to item number 2, discuss, consider, and take action on Alpha Omega Wireless quote in the amount of $15,000 for maintenance and support renewal of FCC licensed radios to be paid from 100.412.4465 repair and maintenance of their communication equipment. Will, is that your,
It's George.
is that George's deal?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. That's annual maintenance on our radios that we have. Meredith currently has a contract under review, but pending her approval, price hasn't wanted to change.
Is that the ones that do the infrared? Is that the radio?
The microwave, yes.
Microwave, I'm sorry, not infrared.
And George, would this address anything we might encounter or need on the repeater thing that's on the parking garage? Don't we bounce off of that to come into Linderman Building, or aren't we on the top of the elevator shaft over there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just know that.
That covers those radios. Now that radio, the one going to precinct 1 from EMO and the one going from Bell Road to precinct 3 out there, those 6 radios aren't licensed, but they are covered by this agreement. If they were to get hit or whatever, they'd be replaced. And this covers updates, alignment. They come up here once or twice a year and check the alignment, make sure everything's copacetic. Do the same thing for the city. So this is just annual maintenance.
Yeah, that's an annual contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And Meredith, that would be a piece of equipment on that leased, or I don't know that we've gotten that far yet on the parking garage, but it just calls it out or.
Yes, we made a provision in that Lindemann contract for the donation to make sure that we maintain the space on top of that parking garage for that equipment.
Okay. I'd make a motion, we accept this
Motion
item.
by Commissioner Watts. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Harvey. Any discussion from the audience?
I would just make sure the motion includes subject to.
Subject to,
review.
So moved.
we will change that to reading subject to your review of the contract. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Passes 3-0. Item number 3, discuss, consider, take action to approve land sweeper quote number 168392156 in the amount of $1,470 for asset management software subscription license to be paid from 100.412.3151 computer software to appropriate line as determined by county auditor, and you are already standing, George.
Yes, sir. We've been looking for some network auditing software. Came across this. It's got a lot of tools built into it. It pulls your serial number, pulls the warranty expiration dates. It'll tell you what's hooked up to the network and on what port of what switch that it's plugged into. It's a very, very robust tool for the price.
Yeah, I was surprised. When I first saw the 14, I thought we probably looked at 14,000.
Does this, George, allow you to shut down a piece of equipment, say?
It's, we'll have to review what we're doing currently with SolarWinds. SolarWinds was what we were using for this. This is a whole lot more automated so far as the data that it presents than SolarWinds. SolarWinds has a lot of manual moving data around, import this, export that, to get it in the place you need it to be. And one of the issues that we have currently with SolarWinds, we love the help desk portions of SolarWinds, that's awesome. But some of the other pieces that integrated with the firewall, since we've upgraded our firewalls, those pieces no longer integrate, and SolarWinds has no, at this point, no intention of making that happen. So a lot of the information that we were able to pull at one time directly off the firewall, we no longer do that with SolarWinds. So SolarWinds, with the possible exception of the help desk portion, may be going away at the end of the year.
SolarWinds is the help ticket software as well that,
Yes, sir, that's the web help desk portion.
Does this software not have the same thing?
It does. We haven't looked at it enough to see if it's going to be user friendly for us and for our users out there. So it does have software or help desk built into it as well.
well, I like the process that we currently now see on tickets. I tried to call Bob the other day, and then it kept bouncing back to the main voice attendant. I'd shot a deal, and then y'all were able to copy that several times to see if it was hitting. It wouldn't give us the same problem, but I mean, I saw all the responses, and they helped. I mean, it's very informative.
The help desk portion is
Yeah,
very robust.
I thought it was very, very good.
The other pieces, while they did a lot for us initially, they're not so much so right now. I like to say too, thank y'all for putting this first.
Good. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. And that will pass 3-0. Judge Gossman has joined us again. Judge, I'll hand the gavel to you, and you can take control of the meeting. You just got here for the good part.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you said take control. But Lee wasn't out of control.
He wasn't out of control.
Right, sorry, I was delayed. You
The
know,
next-
you make those calls, and once
Yeah.
you get through, you gotta hang on.
Yeah, and you can't, because you may not get them back.
That's right.
Judge, we're down to item number 4. 4, 5, and 6 are travel policy that we discussed last Friday. I didn't know if you wanted to handle those now or go down and pick the rest of this up and come back. But that's where we are.
Get through, because there's some that
Yeah.
may not wanna stay for those, and others want to.
We're on number 4.
Okay, well, let's ask for, I'll change that, unless you all feel like you're comfortable with that.
This is what we did Friday in the workshop.
Well, a little bit different. I had some questions, and then Meredith had helped me with those as well, just to clarifying some of the stuff that is sometimes difficult, and it just made it read a little easier.
I think we did the 100 to change it to 200 miles, because you're really talking about just this side of Waco, but we're really talking about the Metroplex, people going there for meetings.
Right.
But sometimes you have, depending on the time, then you've got the traffic problem. So if someone can't meet in those, then we have said, come to court. It's like we have JP and the clerks approved, they've got to go to Tyler, but to get through Dallas that morning to be in Tyler, you couldn't get through there in time. So we're doing a different thing.
Might be quicker if we're going to go through law.
It's just about,
It
yeah.
nearly would be.
Yeah. Except 35 would bring them right back.
No.
To the Metro. All right, we have a motion and approving that.
I'd so move, Judge.
I'll score. Yeah, number 4. I'll second that, yeah.
Any other discussion or question on item number 4? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 4-0. Okay, item number 5 is discuss and take action to permit Wichita County employees, including attorneys and licensed peace officers, to attend conferences related to their licensure, even if the employee is not an elected official, department head, or chief deputy. Ms. Kennedy had advised us on that one.
Yeah, because basically every attorney has to do CLE every year, we need to be able to do that, and then the peace officers in the sheriff's office as well as the DA's office. And I don't know if jailers do any off-site training, do we need need to include jailers
They
as
did
well?
some, but very little.
So do we need to?
Yeah,
I
let's
mean,
go ahead.
They're not, actually
they're not
considered licensed
peace
peace
officers.
officers.
So if we need to include them, we should say
Something
licensed
like that.
jailers.
What if we just change it to licensed officers? And then it would, because they're licensed jailers. And, same thing would catch on if, over in juvenile, but
Mhm.
okay.
That's true.
So we're gonna strike the word fees and, be licensed officers. Okay. Anything else?
No, I'd make that motion, Judge, to.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Watts, second by Commissioner Waller, approve the item as stated with striking the word license, leave out peace, then it just be licensed officers. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried 4-0. Item 6, discuss, consider, take action to approve travel per diem and lodging the day before the 2019 Texas Court Reporter Convention in Austin due to the distance for county court and district court reporters attending September 4 through 8, and to authorize reimbursement of registration fees, travel per diem, and lodging for the convention. This was submitted by the district 30th Court District Judge, and he does have a budget, but a slight transfer of funds to, out of his maintenance and operating. Cover that.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harvey, second by Commissioner Waller to approve the item. Any other comments, questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 4-0. Item 7 is discuss, consider, take action to approve 3 supervisors in addition to the Honorable Tommy Smythe, tax assessor collector, and Ms. Nikki Kingery, chief deputy, to attend the 85th annual Tax Assessor Collectors Association of Texas Conference, June 9th through June 13th, 2019, in Galveston, Texas, with expenses to be paid from $104.994304, travel out of county, and registration fees to be paid from $104.99.4852, training and conferences. Mr. Smythe, anything additional to that?
No, we're just here to answer any questions about this. As you know, we attend 2 conferences a year, one in June and one in November. And it goes without saying that most of the conferences are either going up down the I-35 corridor or 40, or going up 45. Next year we'll be at Austin, and next year after that we'll be in Corpus Christi. So it's 730 miles, Judge. 431 miles, 7.5 hour drive. And we always go down the day before. I mean, it's just a legitimate deal at
I don't know, that's, doesn't seem like that's.
Leave early.
Yeah, just leave early that morning.
And,
You didn't have to change clothes, stay in the same one?
Just walk into class and after
Yeah.
about 7.5 hours in the car.
Yeah, you be ready.
Exactly.
And this will be an important one, because y'all will have the results of the legislature by then, so I'd make a motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Thank you for your support, Lee.
A couple of things, Tommy, just from your office. Are we good shape on our upload to the server? That
They get it this,
City View,
go ahead, Nick.
they got it uploaded this weekend. We have a little, everything's good. We have a little glitch they're working on right now, but I think it's gonna be.
but it laid in mostly what it was supposed to
I'm
do.
gonna probably let it run 2 days, Jeff, before I do a press release on it. That way if we got a bug in it. But it has been downloaded.
And then also, Tommy, at your convention, the first one, could you ask about that fee and see if, there's any lobby efforts from our part that maybe we could approach the state on at seeing? And Greg, let me ask if you know this too. I just received a statement from our sales tax return for Iowa Park. And in that statement, which is a simplified statement, there is a service fee held on the percentage that 4B and the city retains of sales tax. The state assesses a fee to do that transfer. 2%
2%.
of
A lot of money.
the money.
Yeah.
And my point was that that would be great. What was good for the goose, good for the gander, because Bob sends a lot of money that no service fee of any type retained by the county, very old and never changed rules that were in place or legislation in place back in the time. And then when the sales tax became all the thing, the state was smart enough to put a service fee on there for handling that. The county in turn handle a lot of state money that we get no service fee whatsoever on. And so
License tag probably being one of the biggest. Don't we get 15 cents a tag registration? Does that sound right? It's a nominal fee. It's been there.
Yes.
It's very nominal.
And so if we enlighten that and we got 2%, what's good for one is good for the other.
sure,
Exactly.
sure. And do y'all remember when we discussed the hospital special tax for just recently? Was the state saying at that time they were going to allow us 2%?
No. If it's the one I think you're talking about.
Or was it 20,000?
LPPF, we get 20,000. That's
Period. It
Period.
wasn't anything connected with the formula. It was just an allowance amount.
no, and since it was our first time to go for that, I had suggested to have an escalation factor in it. And the sponsor said, we're going to get it through to do that. I told Ms. Callie that we would then discuss other concessions for that. Because quite frankly, adding that on, keep adding straw on these camels,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to look at the staffing in those offices. Because it's kind of like, when, we have 48 prisoners, we add 49, you don't have any choice but to
You
have
open
a
it up.
24/7 jail crew and open another place. So someplace along the line, the state has got to develop some change in this attitude just because they approved the fee in 1897.
That's right. And that's where, if we could receive if we could receive a similar update across the board on all of those, it would make a nice impact to us and alleviate some burden that otherwise we do a lot of work for that is non-compensated work.
It would recoup some of our costs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
really what we're talking about.
We still have to file this on the agenda.
On the Seaview ISD deal, just since Mr. Watson, who's preparing the billing to them? Okay, so we have to start at a fee.
$1,500.
Yeah, I sent them their invoice on the $1,500.
All right, good deal, thank you.
And then now that we've got the roll, I can go ahead and send the interlocal invoice too.
All right, very good, thank you. Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Muller, second by Commissioner Harvey to approve the best as made. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item 8 is discuss and consider take action to approve the Texoma Building Supply Quote number 430281 in the amount of $9,770 for lock sets and keys for the District Attorney's Civil Division to be paid from Permanent Improvement Fund.
Judge, Mark had visited with me about speaking on half, and I spoke to Meredith as well. We had a menagerie of locks there, all pretty good kind of locks, but they were inconsistent with our key patterns that this wing has done. But this pulls us up and puts everything in the appropriate, under the appropriate keying. So it just further facilitates our change.
And this is a system sequence of submasters, masters. and
Yes, sir. It's
grandmasters.
identical to ours here.
And then maintenance will have a copy of all of those keys.
Yes, and I would assume that Meredith may work out something. I mean, I don't know that there's some stuff that y'all may not need anybody having access to. So
I think security has access to the entire area for sure. Maintenance, I believe, has the master key. The master key works for
And what did y'all do, Meredith, with the little room in front of Ashley's storeroom?
We've had it, refinished.
Looks good, nice.
Yes, we are going to bring one of the scanners down, into that room.
Oh, okay.
Because once we get security on that door, we've gotta be able to have somebody that can let people in and out.
No, that'd be great.
Meredith, this is a substantial amount of money, just about $10,000.
Yeah, I have no idea, I mean, I've not seen this invoice, so
Would we not consider, before we spend that kind of money, doing the key card access? So that when people come and go, leave, you can just turn their card off or whatever, and put somebody else in, to never have to change those locks again. Never. And just like what we have when we get into the back door at the sheriff's office, or the stand back.
this is the keys to our individual offices though. I mean, you couldn't put a key card on every single office and it'd be cheaper than this.
About 500.
No.
to put
I
on.
mean, this is the key to our physical, like my office and LaDonna's office and Becca's office and Molly's office, as well as the main doors into our suite.
As well as down the hall across. I mean,
which is all
that
the
whole
CPS
wing,
offices.
all of those doors in that whole wing, grand jury and everything, it patterns them the same. Lee, and I thought, I'm a fan for the card deal, but I was thinking that when we checked last time, it didn't offer, even though we all liked it, it was a little bit more pricier than,
We just need to do a key card on the main.
The double doors
The
going
double
into
door.
the division.
that would be cool.
Yeah. That is the plan for the security on the door. We've just been waiting to be able to get.
Well, isn't that
down.
what you use upstairs?
Yes.
It'd be a good fit there. I tell you, I'm impressed with the way the one on the sheriff's department works down there, because it's worked. We never have a hiccup with it. It's been a really good system.
I just wish it was about hip high.
I do too, where I wouldn't have to take my wallet out of my pocket and
Give it a little.
you can do that down there going
Yeah.
back the other way. But,
Jump up, put it in your hand.
no, you jump that high, that'd be a bad deal.
But, you know, that would be, you know, going forward, I mean, I promise you would be better off if you had these key card accesses, even to the individual offices.
Well, the one good thing about this system, and that is a lot of money, it took my breath away when I saw it, that gets you in a more secure situation because you've got control over duplicate keys and all that.
You got control there, especially if you start with, we sign the key out to everybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Eric, did you hear me? Y'all need to have a log on signing those keys out, because it's a high dollar change when somebody loses it.
It's tracked. Yeah,
Yeah.
all that is tracked. By,
Tommy,
no,
also.
What?
you have
No.
key cards now.
No, no, I don't have, he's talking about the keys.
Oh,
The keys,
Oh,
keys,
yeah.
yeah.
Don't
Okay.
pull me
Is there a
No,
second?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime we
yeah.
terminate or anything, we collect their keys from them before they leave.
Just a comment, I mean, in defense of Meredith and Civil Division, we went down this road trying about a year ago, Jeff knows, Mark does too, to Lee, just to try to get, I think, 2 of our field offices online with maybe Iowa Park. It was $12,000.
Yeah.
These locks have gotten plumb goofy.
Well,
I
and
mean,
then,
But again, you pay for what you get.
Are you talking about $12,000 for the key card access?
No, I'm talking about just getting
Changing
things
the law.
standardized like what
But-
Meredith's
but
got.
that's
You gotta
kinda-
have- I mean, it's just, we've still got a hodgepodge, but the price of locks.
well, and that's when we kind of discovered the key card aspect as well. We all liked that as well, but there wasn't any money much to be saved there. It was,
Made a lot of wiggle room.
Well, it's okay to spend a little bit more money on the key card access because it's there forever. Somebody loses a key card, you just go on computer and you disable that card. It doesn't work anymore.
right.
And you know, it's just, it's far more secure. You can fire somebody and turn their card off. They can't come in here at midnight and clean out their desk and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's,
IT now has access to all of the key cards, where before we didn't. Sheriff has been gracious enough to let us have those, and then the DA. So now we can maintain all of that whenever someone is, terminated.
Yeah.
IT gets notified immediately. So that's all updated now, whereas before it was kind of a lot of different moving parts. So
yeah.
adding more key cards in the future is going to be easier because now there's one main control station.
So could we look at that? and get a price for that before we spend 10 grand on something that we would like to replace?
This is the
anyway?
keys that have already been installed in our area, right?
Oh, it's already done?
This was during construction.
It's kinda like your item on there.
This
Okay.
was changing out all the construction locks on our doors to
okay.
real locks.
All right.
Yeah.
I just thought we hadn't done it yet.
They had those old round ones, and we didn't even have keys to some of them, Lee.
Right, no, if it's already done, I get it. I was just
Yeah, no,
thinking,
yeah,
moving
it was already
forward,
done.
if we could just go ahead and, if it's done, it's done. So moved.
Second.
Well, I already got,
Okay.
Oh, you already got it done, okay,
already got the second.
Okay.
okay,
You thought he was first, but he was second.
okay.
Okay. Any other comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried 4-0. Item 9, discuss, consider, take action to approve that additional Tyler Technologies Incorporated products with the Odyssey to be paid from Fund 403, Tyler Technology Software Acquisition Alliance, determined by the county auditor. Ms. Cullen. Ms. Gibbs, or both of y'all.
There have been some advancements to the Tyler product since we initially decided we were going to go live 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Some things that have technology-wise that have moved forward with criminal e-filing, some more ways to transfer paper, make things more efficient. And so these are added products that were not available whenever we signed our contract. We have looked at a lot of those and tested them. There's a lot of things that we have looked to do to make things more efficient, and in order to accomplish it, we need this extra piece to be added on. So it's broken down for you for each piece that we're looking at. The pretrial recommendation, I thought we had decided we were going to hold off on that.
Yes.
So that is actually not shouldn't be included in what we pay. So that $57,900 doesn't need to be in the total. We were able to save a significant amount of money by doing this during the time of configuration and implementing it as we go live. If we went live with Tyler and then added these things later, we would be looking at additional implementation costs. Tyler has rolled this in to basically not charging us per se, really. Just some of the small configuration pieces, the actual licensing to do now. The batch scanning, that is something that Meredith was really looking at. Currently, when they scan in all of their packets that come from the PD, they have to scan them all individually, piece by piece. So this allows them to attach a barcode to it, put it on the scanner, and it will scan the barcode and submit that entire packet with the scanned images on that case. Then the criminal e-filing workflow, that's the one for you
Yeah.
also. Okay, I don't
Yeah.
remember that one exactly.
Well, the criminal e-filing workflow is that it's kind of, we ran into it a little bit with our bond forfeitures. The indictments get signed by the grand jury and the judge, and so then they have to be filed somehow. This is going to allow us to essentially initiate a criminal case with the clerk's office directly from our office electronically, instead of having to go out through Texas e-file, because there's no way to do that with an indictment. So it just allows us to initiate our criminal case with the clerk's office electronically, so that we're not having to take the paper files in there.
And then Patty will have to scan it in and do all that stuff. The e-notices is a really cool thing that they just had, where now attorneys can receive text messages regarding current cases that they're working. If it's changed or they've been appointed or any sort of notification, it will text them and let them know.
And hearing notices.
Hearing notices.
Would that also, when you say hearing notices I'm looking at our pretrial release program, will that then notify the offender to show up for court or not?
We'd have to look at that. The pretrial release portion, or pretrial recommendation portion, the reason we said we didn't want to take that now is because Tyler recognizes that there's some quite a bit of development that really needs to happen. They've asked us to be on the team to help think that would probably be more of that piece
More
of
of
the
that,
software than
okay.
this e-notice. Do what? Session Sync should be part of that. Session Sync is the text message thing that, isn't it, that Sam is trying out now? E-notices is being able to e-file, electronically, send out notices of hearings and that sort of thing. From like court administrator's office when they do an appointment or they set a hearing on docket or whatever, those go out electronically instead of by paper, which is what they do now.
So originally it was $2,500, and now it's $82,000?
No. The first 4 items are now $82,000. It went from,
Well, it's over 100, it was 130 something.
yeah, it was over
It went from
100,000, and
286
now
to
all 4 of
140,
those
didn't it?
items are
Yeah.
82,000.
Overall,
Yeah.
and now it's down to, after we take off that 57,943, it's down to 88,598.
I like that a lot better.
Now, one of the things, we need to, somewhere in this, in the 9 million things y'all are doing, are we gonna try to do anything to get law enforcement being part of
Yes.
Odyssey?
That's one of the charge integrate, that's called charge, e-charging is the product that is being developed by Tyler. It was supposed to already go live by the time we went go live, and it is dead. I don't know what happened with it. I don't know what didn't work when they tried to roll it out in Fort Bend County, but it's just not working. And so they've put it back on the drawing board. And the reason we went with this batch scanning and wanted, because that's the first thing I asked. I don't want to buy a piece of software that in a year is going to go away. And we had Melissa look into the schedule for the designing of that e-charging, and it's not even on the design schedule yet, which means it's probably somewhere around 2022 or 23 before it ever comes out. Right. Yeah.
Okay. But is there anything that will make it easier for the officers when they come in? Because, you know, we have Wi-Fi and that's like,
Yeah, we've got that set up already.
Okay.
I mean, that's part of the process already, that they come in and they do their paperwork electronically.
Okay.
It's the case packets that come into the DA's office that they file with us that has all of the officers' reports and impound reports and whatever else they've gathered as part of their investigation. They file a separate packet with us, and that packet should come through e-charging eventually. It's just not built yet.
okay.
And so the batch scanning would help us be able to put that information on a mass scanner that automatically puts it into those files.
Okay. All right, then do we have a motion that approves the item as stated with the deletion of pre-trial recommendation software at $57,943, which will leave a final total of $88,598?
So moved.
And I'm sorry, Judge, why,
Ma'am?
I guess, why are you saying it's 88? Because,
If you subtract 57 from 140,
well,
We've already done that though, haven't we?
Maybe.
should just be the 82,467 unless that math is wrong. It should be the
oh, okay, I see what you're-
82,467.
okay. Huh, then why did we,
I think the 146 was just the savings.
But that's the savings.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, originally they quoted
Oh, I
us
see.
all of these items for
Sorry.
286, and then we wanted to show that they actually cut the quote by more than half.
Okay.
But,
Well, if you
no.
know, the guy who was saying that would read the whole thing, you would.
Right. 82,467 should be the cost of all 4 of those items, batch scanning.
So
remote
my
filing,
motion will be
Genesis.
to accept the new proposal, right? Judge?
At 82.
At 82,467. That's correct. Motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other comments you want in the audience? Okay. Motion by Commissioner Muller, second by Commissioner Watts to accept the proposal with the reduction of one software package pre-trial recommendation, and a net amount will turn to be $82,467. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item 10 is discuss and consider take action to approve the purchase of an 18-foot tandem trailer for barricade racks for precinct 3 from Rex Wells at a cost of $1,000 to be paid through the increased line operation lines determined by the County Auditor Commissioner Muller.
This got started back during the floods. We didn't have a real good way to move our barricades. In fact, I sent a picture to the commissioners. That's what we're talking about. Rex had that tandem axle trailer, he wasn't using, we used it, but the racks on it works great, it protects them. We got a flood, we back in, hook up to it, we can go drop them off, we're not throwing them in the back of dump trucks.
Yeah.
And I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Actually, we've been using it for about 6 months, so. I thought he
Well,
was getting
it's ideal because the bed is flat.
Yeah, and we've got and now we've added a basket up front, and we put all the incidentals and the cones and stuff in it, so you're set to go. Makes it a much slicker.
The price was good. the rest
No,
of it.
he didn't have a price, that's why, he might though, that's why I
Any
want to
other
get
comments
this.
or questions? Okay, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 4-0. Okay, item number 11, discuss and take action to accept a proposal from Wilson Contractor for labor and material to install 4,300 square feet of paving for Bacon Switch Road Railway crossing at a quoted price of $26,708 to be paid from Joint Road and Bridge Fund 225 with reimbursement from precincts 2 and 3 equal to amounts of $13,390 in 2020 budget.
Judge, this is to finish off our project out there, and by the way, that project has gone very, very well. We're just about complete. We're gonna open back up, Lee.
Well, it's on the concrete.
Yeah, gotta get it
Here Thursday, hopefully.
That is a tremendously busy intersection. We've always had trouble keeping the asphalt in. We've completely redone the rail crossing with some help from the railroad and precinct 2, precinct 3, and also a donation from, let's see, what fund did it come from, Lee? It was, economic development. But
Yeah, 4B.
4B, it's 4B. I get A's and B's mixed up. Anyway, rather than put back the asphalt, which heavy truck traffic, we thought we had a great quote from Wilson Contracting, and the concrete's going in. It looks good. That's going to be a major, major improvement to that heavily traveled area. And I might say, I'm not sure there's another intersection in Wichita County that has more commerce go across it as far as finished goods and actual commerce. I'd make a motion, we approve.
Well, hang on.
Okay.
There's gonna be a change order to this,
Go for the knee
concrete
walls.
job. We were unaware that the railroad crossing mats, the concrete board mats that they put in there, we thought was solid all the way across. But it is if there's only one track. But they had two tracks. So there was a 4.5 foot by 27 foot slab we had to pour in there that was not in the stick. Okay?
Well, this is already poured.
Yes, it is. It's all poured
Yeah.
except for the header wall.
Seems backwards there.
Well, Judge,
No,
this was an emergency situation. We need to get that road open back up.
Listen, the header walls are also gonna be added. We put in 2 new culverts, side by side, 40, 50 feet long, 55 feet long.
That's right.
And,
40 and a 15.
and we're gonna get them to pour some header walls on that and finish that out. So we'll be done in that intersection for 50 years at least.
Who's gonna be here to say you didn't?
You probably. You probably.
Okay, you all mentioned money coming from sales tax revenue out of Burford. Where's that coming from?
What are you doing?
Where's the donation coming from?
It came from Wichita Falls Chamber of Commerce. Kevin Pearson gave the money to the railroad.
Oh, okay, so it went to railroad.
To the railroad.
Okay.
We don't get any of it.
Okay. God, like the railroad, didn't you?
Well, they would not do the crossing unless they bought the materials.
Okay. Is there a second to this motion?
Second. Do we need to put on there that there's gonna be a change order?
It's not in the item. Come back
We'll have to pick it up. Have to pick it up separate.
Good. I just like making everyone aware.
Okay, and that part was good,
Okay.
but we can't do it without the amount in there. Okay.
And the reason it was done as an emergency, Judge, we need to get the road back open.
Yeah,
It's a major, major intersection.
Yeah. Should have a toll gate on
It should have.
it. Yeah.
Get rich.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 4-0. Item 12, discuss, consider, take action to approve First National Bank lease purchase lease through Rutgers Truck Sales for Precinct 2 with a 5-year lease term starting May 15th, 2019, with note balance of $137,308 and 5 yearly payments of $30,669.83 starting May 15th, 2020 and ending May 15th, 2024, with a note balance of $1 with a 2020 Mack Mule axle 15-yard dump truck, serial number 1M2PN4GC8LM004300. The first payment of $30,669.83 will be scheduled in the 2020 budget. Precinct 2 Commissioner will sign the paperwork for the court.
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Sir?
First National Bank, is that Billy?
No.
No.
Is it American National Bank that should be?
No, this is where we got the 3.8% rate, is that correct? Yeah.
3 point, yes, that's on those 2 trucks.
Yeah, that's what Billy said, he couldn't touch that, go ahead, okay.
So we're basically doing one for precinct 2 and one for precinct 5.
Correct.
Yes, sir, and what the object is we probably won't, we'll have residual, we'll probably trade after 3 years like we're doing today.
Right.
So we just made our payment for cash flow purposes as low as we could get them, and we'll retain a residual when the payoff comes. We'll have a residual to pay off.
Yeah, that would.
I was gonna say, like $60,000 against it.
On,
They're gonna pay us a lot.
you mean on lease?
Yeah.
Yeah, on this one, if you're paying $30,000 a year, 5 years, in 3 years, you're gonna have
$90,000.
payments, $30,669.
That didn't leave the 47, does it? Well, that's not.
Okay. It's a 5-year lease term, sorry. And 5 yearly payments of $30,000, that's $153,000. So.
But what are you
Well-
doing? You holding your option to upgrade after 3? Is that the deal? And then you
Yes.
use your residual value.
Well, your residual value is gonna probably be just about what you owe for it.
Well, you would have, we would hope that we've got a $100,000 bid coming in on that truck that we've paid $100,000 on.
You know, you basically paid 90 in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And these are just rough numbers, that's not figuring
Right.
interest, but
Okay. Let's go on to item 13 for approved. Same thing, other than it's just,
what was the original residual on that one we just traded?
We didn't have one, we had bought that truck outright.
But we traded it, didn't we?
We traded it, and we're carrying about $38,000, $40,000 over.
well, it says you get 95,000 for trade. Okay, item 13 is discuss or take action to approve First National Bank lease purchase lease through Rutgers Truck Sales for Precinct 5 for 2020 Mack dual axle 15-yard dump truck, $137,308, less $95,000 for trade in a 2017 Mack 15-yard truck. The serial number for that for a note balance of $42,308 on May 15th, 2019, 5 yearly payments of $9,450 starting May 15th, 2020 and ending on May 15th, 2024, with a note balance of $1.04. First, $9,450 payment will be scheduled in the 2020 budget. Precinct 2 Commissioner will sign the approved paperwork.
So moved.
A second. That's kind of the schedule that we were talking about getting out, Lee, and that's, yeah.
Well, and I don't know how to best address, but the MAC the 15-yard MAC that Precinct 4 has now, the next go-round, or keep that in mind, it's a 8-speed. It doesn't need to be. And it's a clean truck, an older truck, but it needs to go in a rotation, yes, and get us upgraded to a better 15-yard when that time is appropriate. So keep that in mind.
You're auction in October. You want to put it in there, you can.
Well, do you think that would be, selling it outright may be more advantage than taking some quotes on it, or?
So far, we've been able to do better. So far.
Okay, because we want to use that money towards another rotation. And Willie, I guess it complicates things if we have Precinct 2 and Precinct 5 in a note arrangement, and then when we trade that Precinct 2 truck again, to ever combine those notes, or is that a problem? They need to always be separated?
They need to be separate.
Different funds. It's different funds.
Okay.
But is this gonna standardize what you all are doing in the 15-yard trucks? More so?
Yes, and Mark has some newer Model 15s, Judge, that probably need to fit in there at some point, but we're going to have to, we get our basis down, maybe group trade 2 or 3, otherwise they're gonna get too old on us in doing them one at a time. We're gonna have to group some of them together to get back in. What we want is to operate trucks that are under warranty, that we don't have a $20,000 truck repair bill on, that it's gonna be the shops to do, and
tires.
And tires.
There's more money on tires.
Well, we're finding ourselves in that shape because we've got a fleet of trucks that are aging drastically, and our repair bills are going up exponentially, because we're at a time now, it's a $5,000 or $10,000 deal anytime it goes through the door.
right.
And we're gonna have to get on some kind of rotation. In fact, we're gonna look at it for next year's budget and see where we are. We've not started. We've been fortunate to sit back and keep everything rolling, but it's getting pretty thin on the bottom side.
That backhoe you got's a sissy.
That what?
That new backhoe you bought, it ain't got no power.
Really?
Yeah. If you get the old backhoe in there, pull up that asphalt, that new one wouldn't do it.
I don't necessarily want that new one pulling up the big jumps anyway.
Just didn't have any power, it was aggravating.
We better check it. Anyway, that's where we are. You got your motion, don't you, Judge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready for the vote? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 4-0. Item 14 is to discuss, consider, take action to approve the HERC rentals contract in the amount of $88.17 per hour for $529 a day or $14.83 per week for a 2,000-gallon water truck for Precinct 4, be paid from Department 224 Supplies and Operations, line to be determined by the county auditor. Commissioner Watts.
Yes, we are, while Barry and Lee and with Mark's assistance have been on the road project at the railroad and Bacon Switch, we have used our contractor to go ahead and begin to grind our roads, and we've been working them back out ourselves, but Mark's small truck is over there, and this was the best deal we could find around for something that would get us by as we repack our roads. We're grinding up, we're on our 3rd road right now. It's gone real well, and it's been a money saver for us, so it's worked out well, and we really thought that the grind job was good, but we used the water to get around with. We can run back and forth quicker. And
Your contractor that's doing that has a water truck, you may check with him and see if he would wet it down
Well-
instead of paying this money.
well, I'm just paying $1,400 for the week and be done with it. I don't know what he'd rent me a truck for, but then I have to worry about them putting it down, and don't we put that binder out there too? But I just didn't know what he'd say about that, and
We hope we're gonna be reusing road.
Randy Davis.
Yeah, in the future.
I mean, Randy Davis will tell you right quick. You know, it may
If they've got one available.
responsibility.
well, yeah,
off of you.
no, I mean, and it would help us go ahead and get that turned in, but we really didn't think that we'd have it a week, so, but we can if we go forward.
Rains, or do they ever rain out clause? People working?
We'll take it back, Judge, if it rains, because there's no, we could attempt something like this, but
Don't want the clock running.
we can attempt to borrow one if it could be cheaper value, but, I mean, I'd get $1,500 if I had a truck for a week to let you use it. I mean, to me, that's fair price. And it prevents buying a $70,000, $80,000 similar truck.
And we don't have that size water truck?
Well, we've got Marks, but they're using it over there as they put that road back. Barry and Lee both have big ones. Some of our problems where we're working, Judge, we can't get turned around. So that was, this worked out the best, and we kind of scrambled. Normally, we get it from Wichita, everything's out right now, and so we just couldn't move that quick. But this was a good group, and I was not exposed to them or hadn't been around them. I just went to doing some checking, and then I found this.
It says Hurt, that's what they're going by now, there's Hurt's Equipment Rental Company.
Is that what it used to be?
No, it
They
is.
bought out?
No, they just changed their name.
Okay. Well, I wondered about that.
Hurt,
Okay.
Hurt Equipment Rental Company.
Okay.
I think all the lease, water trucks are out on our LEC project.
Yes.
Right, we have seconded that motion.
Second.
Any other comments from the audience? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried 4-0. Item 15, discuss, consider, approving the county treasurer's report from January 2019, and authorize county treasurer to sign affidavit certifying compliance with section 114026 local government code. Mr. Hampton.
Brother,
Good morning, good morning. What you're looking at from the overall snapshot that we have to provide for that interesting deal that the government has us do. You got in front of you is January. And just to bring you up to date, this January we are 4% behind where we were this time last year in January. 4%. Your printout actually, bottom line on that is $67,526,297.65, and last January was $69,707,738.
So we're down 2.2 million.
We're down 4%.
It's 2.2 million.
It is.
But that's, I mean, we paid out some federal capital expense now.
Is that because
Yeah,
we had
yeah,
that leasing
we've been
program?
spending a lot of money, yeah, so
I was looking at this on the precinct
that's
funds.
January.
On the precinct funds,
Yes,
every
sir.
one of us is in a negative, not parentheses around our numbers.
Well, and the other side of it is, the way
Not all of it.
TSG does, it plugs everything into
Yeah, every one of them.
precinct 5.
Precinct three's not.
It sure
And
is.
Oh,
And
it
that's-
is now, you're right, I was looking at 18.
Okay, this is the reason I give you, and this is February's account. This gives you the numbers that you,
That's your checking account, Lee, that the precincts are in.
Well, if that's my checking account, I'm bouncing checks all over town.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
that's just the way they do the accounting.
You wouldn't have any fund in the federal government.
It's all brackets, the whole deal.
Well, our federal government, they just go to the closet and print some more money.
That's January, so before we move on to TSG, now let me remind you, TSG came up here 4 years ago and said, we're the only county using that financial system. And they said, you need to adjust accordingly. Right now, we do not have the capability of doing signed checks. So when we print the check, we have to hand sign every one of them, which is no big deal as far as jury checks. But every,
You want to stamp?
we've got a stamp, yeah, and we can use that. I just want to make sure that you understand, this thing's coming apart like a $3 suitcase. And, so it's pretty much you and I did that. My job is to keep you informed and what you do with that. But we're spending all this other on Odyssey. We need a financial package that we can work with.
Well, we're getting it, it's called Munis.
Well, the same one, the city, Wichita Falls is going to.
We're getting it, I mean,
Good.
we spent, we're obligated, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We looked at it 5 or 6 years ago and started to get it and didn't get it. So we did get it this time. Do you know when that's gonna be online, Meredith?
Well, the Munis deal, she's working that right now. One of the biggest hurdles that we've got is the people towards the effort. So she's working on that, trying to get staffed up so she could actually pull herself away and make the transition. We know the Munis change will be faster, Bob, than what the Odyssey has been.
It's gonna be great if you got Karen and I to help you. You know,
Well, there's an ideal too, Judge, right there that we hadn't thought completely through. I didn't even think about that.
and while we're on that subject, you understand that the county treasurer, every one of the county treasurers in the state of Texas has to have 20 hours of continuing education. Is it my understanding I have to come in like Tommy and ask for permission to go to class?
Yeah.
In your case, yes. No one else does.
Yeah, just you.
Just you. No.
We're really worried about you spending money like a wild crazy man, so we don't want you to come up there and.
Well, I mean, really, do I have to get on the agenda and?
No, you never had to do that.
Well, I've never heard that, but
Okay, good.
I would presume the county would want Tommy to be as educated as everybody else across the state of Texas. So,
Tommy's gonna travel down there and teach the class.
is he?
Yes.
He's a professor.
He is.
So be doctor as well as
Smart.
project manager. Okay.
Don't-
This man's gonna get more titles
You're
than,
gonna buy Toys R Us and get some of those stethoscopes, I can see it coming.
well, any questions on, now that's January, the TSG is always January, because what's that deal you have to work out with government? That has a 4 letters.
Effort.
CAFR.
Yeah.
CAFR. And so we collect the money and we send the state of Texas 5% on that, Jeff, as you already pointed out.
I had an old.
We do all the work.
Pretty good camera.
And then we send 95% of it to the state of Texas.
So can you start charging a 2% handling fee for everything you send to the state?
We can't do zippity-doo-dah without,
But
yeah.
We do
Bob-
get more, or we have to come get you.
But you guys can go down there with your, with your deal and,
Well, they didn't ask permission from us to charge us 2%, so I don't think we need to ask permission from them. We just do a call
Yeah.
over here and we'll just start charging it.
Let's wait until
Well,
the new
whatever.
jail's built, it'll be a lot more comfortable.
whatever, yeah. Let's get this ad valorem tax deal squared away first. Okay, we'll jump to this deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That red deal,
Don't let
that
me
red
forget
deal,
something.
you just keep you in the post. The first 1.5 pages is strictly 100 money, which is general fund. Okay, that Freddie was a 5-year piece of, it's called away on the February the 28th, so that means that the feds don't look to be raising rates anymore, so that's the good news. And Fed chairman said there probably won't be any more Fed rates increases this year. So we got an unbelievable federal debt, so we really need to think about that, guys. You see where our investments
You'd
are.
be the only ones thinking about it, man.
Yeah, we don't even discuss it anymore that I can hear. I mean, that used to be a topic of discussion, but it's not anymore. It will be someday.
We've got a $30 million piece in our jail fund. I'm gonna jump onto it unless you got any questions about that.
Where are you at on this paper?
I'm anywhere you wanna be.
I was looking at the, second page, permanent improvement fund, number
Okay.
401.
Right?
The balance of that, is that 902 or is it 3 million? What is
The
that?
balance is $3,752,546.08.
Well, that's how much money we have there.
Well,
That's how much money we
no,
have, but
this
the
is how much
investments-
money's investment, Lee,
Investments,
because
includes
we,
investments and everything.
you saw the other report Friday, I believe, or that reflected the current balance.
Some of it's
Little
liquid.
less than that.
Some of it's liquid,
Yeah.
he's showing you what
Not-
he's got encumbered.
Yeah. So the encumbrance.
Well, we're not encumbered, we can sell them, you know.
Wouldn't
Right,
that be it?
right.
The bottom line.
Yeah, they're not encumbered.
Real assets right here, ready assets.
The gray,
These two lines right here, which is.
okay. Those are assets and then in this fund, there's 30.
Ready assets, and then that fund has that,
Okay.
plus investments.
Okay.
Bob, I heard the number the other day, and I think this is correct, that for every man, woman, and child in the United States owes $77,000. That's their current debt.
Well, I'll tell you, Dr. Tom Sewell is one of my, he's a black gentleman, is an economist, and I'll tell you, he's a smart man. Certainly one of the people I pay attention to, and he says, sooner or later, we've got to do some serious thinking about that.
Reserve for self-insurance.
You're seeing.
Number 216.
That's only investments. because
216.
These down here.
Reserve for self-insurance.
Right.
Tax rule, that's not.
I keep the majority of those funds invested simply because we don't draw on them too much.
So we've got a net income of $4,300 from all those investments
For this month,
for this month.
yeah, that's where he's not.
For a month, okay.
That's a good,
And Bob, one
that's
of
a
the
good,
things,
and I appreciate that question because I tried to give you an idea of what our cash flow, at the end of that same page, right here, it'll tell you,
Somebody's account,
it'll tell you right here, the monthly income, interest income.
okay, monthly interest income.
Now, that's on those funds, that's not the same funds we have for the LEC.
That's correct.
They're
LEC
obligated
LEC is strictly a standalone account. That's the reason why it's page 5 and 6. And if you'll see that, the running total on that is, we've already spent $4,020,523.86. That's 70 million, and we're fixing to take a heck of a bite out of it.
Let's stay up here where let's don't jump down there just. On the reserve for self-insurance,
Okay.
it's, shows me $3,750,000.
Right.
Is that what we have invested?
No, here's what you have invested.
Okay, we have invested $3,750,000. Okay, so our fund balance would be the green.
Is the dark green.
Okay, so that's just shy of $4 million.
Well, that's the invested dollars, Lee. Bob's probably liquid in his account too, because he
What
don't
I'm
want you
trying to
writing a
get to-
check off of that
What I'm
without
trying to
him
get to
having to
is-
cash in something.
What I'm trying to get to is, what should that fund balance be? It seems to be in excess substantially for self-insurance.
no,
Not really.
Run the operation we're running, I don't think so.
Not really, it's,
That covers the district clerk and the county clerk, plus the insurance.
Don't their bonds really sell all
They're
that?
not bonded, they are self-insured.
Okay.
It's based on a percentage of fees they take in, we have to set aside each year.
I mean, you could have $1 million deal just in the blink of an eye, which is 25% of your fund, just in a single episode. You gotta remember what all we've got going on. You know, that makes a good point, Bob. You do an excellent job of keeping our money invested, not letting it lay on the shelf, not drawing what little interest is out there, gathering up what we can. And one of the reasons we have to go through some of these things in court is about cash flow more than anything, so that you know we've got something coming where there's gonna be a big check written. That way you can keep it invested and not have to worry about being liquid in the account. And I know a lot of times people don't understand why they've gotta come to court and do certain things or bring certain things to court, but it advises us all on the cash flow. It's about the cash flow of these things.
It is.
It allows you to keep this invested, and you do a good job, and we appreciate it. If interest was 6-8%, this would be a big number.
Or even 4.5%.
But our truck financing and everything else we do would cost more money also.
Exactly.
On the jail account, where is the revenue on that?
Okay, right there at the top.
Oh, okay, I'm
Judge.
sorry, down one.
Yeah. Right there at the top of page 5.
124, is that the number?
This is what we have in our checking account. This is the text pool. And these are the 3 treasury. One of which comes due. That 30 million at the top comes due in April next month. So we'll have, as Commissioner Mahler said, it's all about cash flow. And that's really, it's really important that we all just talk together all the time.
Yeah, know where we are. Know what's coming, know what's going on.
Right now.
And Willie always is
Yeah,
real good about
Willie
that.
always knows.
If we look up what that fund has made, it's gonna be close to $1 million that was made off of the jail funds. Correct. I look at these 3 figures to the right.
Yeah.
Under invested assets.
That's our investment in here.
But aren't we limited?
Yes.
We are limited.
We're limited, but we're not
We're not
gonna
gonna
achieve
blow
that.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We're not.
I didn't remember what the number was.
3%.
Make a motion to
Bob, would you,
treasurer's
well,
report.
let me ask one question. On the precinct funds, and there's other similar investments here as well, but can you look on I would call it kind of a pink bar, like on precinct 1, and we all have them, and the symbol is gold, salamander, or salmon. The symbol is gold, the initial date is monthly,
It is.
but on the coupon percent,
Yeah, 45 basis points.
is that, what is the thought when, I mean, you're achieving a lot more?
What I'm doing is I'm extrapolating money out of road and bridge account. The road and bridge account, which is $70.99, only gets 10 basis points. And so to keep a little more money on a quick spend.
You pull it over into
Yeah,
that?
otherwise, text pool is a day, to cover the
I
check.
I see. So you
Takes a
try
day
to
to move money.
You're liquid in that one, fairly liquid, yet making 35 more basis points.
Well, I'm keeping right at 10 grand in each one of your accounts. It's getting 45 basis points, but it's better than 10
Cost
basis.
you a month.
It's better than 10 basis points. The preponderance of your money though
So what kind of coffee you're drinking?
is in text pool, which is a government entity.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir. Any questions? Lee?
What we need are some CDs that'll pay that 5, 6, 7% and some
Master
operating
rate.
money we can borrow for 2.
If those 2 aren't gonna happen,
We could get, find that.
if the first one happens, the money you're gonna borrow, you probably need to put a 1 in front of that.
You're exactly right. There is some 8, 9% money out there right now, commercial.
Could I ask for take action on this item?
No, wait just a minute. Commissioner, what are you talking about? You're talking about this farm money.
Commercial bar money.
Loan money, yeah.
Business money.
Yeah.
Some 8, 9% stuff.
Yeah, that's, got a good friend down south, I was telling him, you and I had a conversation, and he said, that's exactly the true story. And he said, boy, we're hurting too. He said, I've got a good friend
Yeah.
in Nebraska right now, his entire herd was
Oh,
killed.
it's terrible. That's devastating.
That's-
Going on
it's-
up there.
Lost his whole herd.
Yeah, lost. It's terrible. I don't even think about it.
So, I mean, we got serious problems.
Can you insure cattle?
Can you insure against the low
Sure,
loss you heard?
yeah, you could. It's expensive,
It's
but
expensive though. It's tough. Yeah, that's a life-changing event going on out there right now for a lot of people.
Judge, I'll second Lee's motion to approve the treasurer's report. I did have a question on Bob, just a thought question. Bob, you mentioned on one of the things I think the auditor is moving towards or trying to work on this Munis thing, and we're impacted just health-wise, but would it be possible on data review, like if Karen, could she give up some days with you that she sat there and just data reviewed for their office on an upload?
We're available to do anything we can do.
Because that sure might be something, I mean, she understands what we're doing and she understands what she's looking at without, and just be one of many that she's got to have, but we've kind of got to put a group together to look at those as they upload that information into the new system. And I never even thought about that till you just said that if she had some time that they could say, hey, would you please check that all this information is showing here correctly? That's what we've had to do
She
on
and I
ours.
both do whatever it takes, but we've got to have it. Karen was the one that transposed what we were using, I guess Commodore.
Over.
25. You and I are the only ones that remember Commodore. Anyway, she 25 years ago, she's the one that absolutely what do you call it, touch?
Key punch.
What's that
Key
word?
punch.
Keystrokes.
Keystroked all that mess in from our old system. So you bet. She would work sometimes 12, 15 hours a day. But it's very important. We've got to move on.
Thank you,
All
Bob.
in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries 4-0. Update on the law enforcement center project, you all have that attached. Things are moving along. We had, no major hiccups. We did the evaluation with senior leadership from Yates last week. We gave them a couple areas that they needed to have improvement in. Instead of being in section 1 or 2, we put them into section 3 because we felt like the combination of getting some plans updated hadn't happened as timely as it should have. They have not delayed the job. There's a couple of errors in some things they did. They're recalculating that. And the only other thing that's kind of held us up is some of the things were buried underground or not where they were supposed to be. And so we're doing some offsets to that, but there does not seem to be any major, all of a sudden we can't build it here type thing. The sheriff had asked about adding that second bay to that deal where they would take down the cars and stuff and do searches. He and I talked about that last Friday, and he's withdrawn that request unless somehow we come up with the money, but we were supposed to let them know. The only thing he did ask about, and that's why I was interested in that deal for the interest, is whether we would consider using the interest. He'd offered to pay for part of that out of one of his funds, but it would qualify to use that.
It doesn't qualify, that was my question. I wondered if,
If he built it on the other end of the building, might have been the case.
well, what even, I guess and just a long thought here, but the DA's money, does it qualify for that? Not at all either.
What about the fund that he was talking about splitting with?
even though it's evidence, the DA couldn't enhance something
I
with
think
it?
that has to be used for salaries or training or equipment. I'm not sure it would go for that, to do that.
Because I was just wondering if there was a purchase coming down the line, if the sheriff could make a qualified purchase that the DA was going to do, and the DA could help us with that. Just a thought, but.
We'd have to take some specific to them to see if it's qualified in their funds, but I don't think they have a rate deal left in there right now. But if you were to make any consideration on adding that other bay, and he gave me alternatives of the other space y'all got to use, he said we're really set up pretty good. So I say that, if I'm reading what he said to me, and Chief sort of enter in, but I say on a scale of 1 to 10, he'd like to have it at the 3 or 4 level, but it's not something he's gonna stymie them or anything else. But the only thing is, if we were ever gonna do it, it's time to do it. This week is the time to say yes. And, but I didn't want to use our other contingency. We're way too early in the project.
Very early.
To start.
But with the new room that's being added on the old portion and this one bay, I mean, do we not feel we'll be adequately, or are we gonna be way short still?
Well, the one bay on the new construction would be for taking cars apart or putting them together. We suspect there'd be money or drugs in the car.
Tear down area.
Yeah, and also when we take stuff in and out of there to park, the drug stuff going to the lab, we load in and out of that bay. So if we have a car in there tearing apart, we wouldn't be able to get a van in there to take our drugs to the lab or something, for instance. There would be times where both bays would be used.
And this cost is what, Judge?
56,000.
What's the area?
Size of it?
Yeah.
It's basically a bay, just a car bay.
Like a 14.
Like a shop bay?
Yeah, on the west end of the LEC, the original plans was for 2. They eliminated one, the outside one, and just moved that wall in and made one bay for the savings when we were in the process of cutting money back.
Is there other storage inside the bay? Like, I mean, is it?
No, you go straight in, from there you would go straight into the evidence area.
So anything that came out of that process would then would go into it.
Straight inside the evidence area, yes.
I mean, is it a mistake to
It's
say?
not a mistake either way. If you're looking for the ideal thing, then that, and we might talk to him about, he offered to pay up half of it if something would qualify. And we might be able to look at the other end of that project where we talked about the inmate storage, equipment storage for the work crew. And I think that was a different building. That's not part of the LEC complex.
I don't know on that one. I wasn't here Friday for that discussion.
Yeah, well, that one kind of flew by low and fast.
Well, I'm just like you, Judge. I mean, commenting about now is the time. I just hate to miss the mark and say, gosh, it'd be. We all know how space is, and it's. I would have thought it would have been more than 56,000 though.
What it happens that helps us, right now the west wall is here, and there's a pier here, a pier here, a pier here, and a pier on the corner. There's 4 piers. The 2 outside piers would stay, but these 2 inside piers, since there wouldn't be a wall there, will move over here with the new wall. So you're going to have those 2, and you're just going to add the 2 outside piers. So whatever piers cost.
And they were planning on finishing up the piers this week. So that was what it was either now or have to have that truck come back and do it later.
Well, we know how much everything space-wise this evidence eats us up, and it just scares me to think that we could be too limited. And I know we're going to have the big room to use out there as well, and that's going to certainly facilitate, but on doing what Will's talking about, having torn down stuff and in your way to load out, it might be a real pain.
you would have that, if you have that underneath the facility and you ever needed to change this evidence space, and you would already have that secured area in there to add to your evidence room. You'd have to look at how you did that, but that would be a possibility. But that other one's gonna last a fair amount of time. But
On the other one, being long-term storage, we wouldn't really want to put a car in there and tear it apart. We have 4 or 5 people inside the evidence room. The purpose of the evidence room is to have 1 or 2 people who always have access to it and no one else in them.
But that's kind of where, if a load of something came that got to be put into evidence, you kind of need to use the bay, don't you, the bay door?
Unload and everything.
And if it's consumed or tied up, then what are you
The other
gonna
one, the
do?
long-term would be at the other facility, the long-term. We wouldn't want to do it in there because it's a controlled area. We want to
Oh,
keep it safe,
okay.
controlled area.
They're just actually removing the evidence from the vehicle, categorizing it, logging it in, and then putting it in the big room.
And they're doing that right close to that right now, but this would be a much more sanitized process, and a secure process.
Secured process.
I don't know, guys. I think we ought to consider doing that because, and now's the time, and
Well, as long as we don't go over 70 million, we're gonna spend
Well,
100,000 on this, we're gonna take 100,000 somewhere else.
okay.
well, but if they're willing to help with some money here, that,
Well, it would have to be a qualified
You gotta
expense.
qualify
If
it,
you're gonna do
so-
it right now, we're gonna spend $56,000, which would be above the 70 million because you take it out of the interest will cover that. That's, I thought that was a reasonable suggestion to sheriffs, and it's never gonna be a better time than right now.
or cheaper time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did it 5 years down the road, no telling how it would impact you and
We
cost.
sit right here, and all 5 of us agreed, that we weren't spending a penny over $70 million.
No, I'm with you. I don't want to do that either, but I'm just saying if they would make some purchases for us later that were erode the 56 that we're gonna spend and keep us from spending it elsewhere, it might be wise dollars.
Well, if the chicken had wings, you know, I mean,
I think he does, Lee.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
But-
I had to clean it up right at the last minute.
But you know what I mean? If we were going to expend some radio or whatever it was, 56 is 56.
Well, the other things that we don't have in there, and you mentioned the radio thing, we can look at, because all of that money has to be spent on this project. Then if you have over, it has to be spent on another project under the interest and sinking fund. It doesn't just go back to the general fund. But I really think and I don't know if we'll go over the 70 million. We do have contingency funds, both in the construction and in the owner side, that we have touched partially, but less than $250,000 out of those million in each, so.
But
We
it's
just
early.
started.
It's early.
Yes,
We
sir.
just started, you're telling me that we've touched $250,000.
I said less than.
Yeah.
I wish you said less than 50,000, but that makes me
The
think we're right
permitting,
up.
the permitting, which we didn't get down in there, we didn't have it included, we thought that came under the owners. We'd paid for it, whether you pay for it over here, or you move over here and pay for it, we're gonna pay for
But
it.
the number wasn't in the $7 million budget, is what you're telling me.
It was under that general term, I can't remember what they call it, the iron something or whatever. But it was, they showed where they added back up, here's what we projected, it was in there. I didn't get that detail.
But nowhere in that discussion was that interest money that those bonds have been made.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm looking at, there's close to $1 million that's come in.
I just don't want us to regret something that, I mean, really it's a lot of money, but in the scheme of things, it's not anything in the project cost, but because now is the time to do it. But
It'd be a little less expensive. If we moved that.
Another
well,
20 feet.
Yeah, probably never pay for it. We can't take action on it, but I need to kind of have a feeling that we can tell them we think they can go ahead and proceed, because that, to mobilize, decide that 3 weeks from now, you're gonna lose money having that peer through when it
Go
comes
back.
back.
How many, I mean, does anybody know what the square footage of that deal is? I mean, I don't.
Do you know,
what are the
Will?
dimensions?
I would think probably 20 by 30, roughly.
Something like that.
That's what it is
For that
now.
additional- For that
No,
additional
no,
bay,
that's for each bay.
it'd be about 600 square
And
feet.
that one bay is probably a little larger than that, because you gotta go up and go into that room, you got entrances, you got clearance area.
That size of a garage.
I'm just thinking, I mean, we can't build a shop for $56,000. I mean, this is just, if we wanted to build a 20 by 40, I don't know if we can do it for that.
Well, not the way this is built.
Not the way this is
Yeah, I
built.
think you could do it the way you and I build one, but not to these standards, you know.
Well, I'm just looking at, we can't take action. I'm just looking
No,
for
we just need to go
consensus.
see if there's, I mean, we could look at the possibilities and see what's available. That never would hurt.
Well, it's, okay, I'm not reading all, it's real simple. You add that other bay that was in the original plans for $56,000, or you say, we're not interested.
Yeah, I'm interested, Judge.
And I am too. I was hoping to have it paid for another way. I think the sheriff and the cooperation he's shown with us before on things, I think we'll get that any way you can do that up to at least half of that.
I mean, that would cut it way back if we
Sure
could
will. That'd
get
help
him to
out.
give us something for other expenditures that qualify for him, that just keep us from spending money elsewhere.
Can we have a bake sale or?
He has $500,000 in the inmate fund. But we were talking, we don't know if it qualifies.
think it
for
will.
that.
We already know that does not qualify.
Oh, we do know that?
That's the
But-
first time
I
I
didn't
said
hear-
that.
But, I mean, something, there's plenty of time to buy something that we would be,
Okay. He bought transport vans last 2 years, I think.
And we're buying another one this year and another Tahoe this year out of that fund for transport. One van we're gonna replace this year on transport's got over 400,000 miles on it, so we're gonna have to replace that one.
He has on old wagon.
I
Yeah,
only had 371 on the Whitey. He got 400,000 on that van.
got about 420 on it right
Is
now.
it white?
It's wide, we'll sell it to you cheap.
I might buy it, just park it beside a Whitey, so Whitey will feel young.
I just think that we'll encounter some things, and I think Dave would help us with, just to keep this down, if it makes more working area sense to, I just know that you have a big project and everything's full up in that bay and you gotta move in or out. Either way, it just seems like you're working over the top of yourself to,
Yeah.
and you keep the outside bay, the one you work in, and the inside bay to the evidence room more open or freer. You
Absolutely.
sure could you can back in there and load up in the rain or anything else, which otherwise you might not be able to do.
Well, and you back into a controlled area.
A controlled area
Yeah.
that not
That whole
everybody.
area is controlled. You've
Yeah.
got the anti-personnel fence and everything there, so, I mean, but it's still open. You're not near secure as you are inside that building.
Like today, Will, I'm just going, because I was exposed to Robert for a long time, bringing and destroying drugs. But like that would be a process that would happen there, right? At some point in time that maybe time expires on a load of a whole bunch of packages of marijuana, they'd have to back in there and load that stuff up, right?
Yes.
Well, they do that in the other evidence room where the marijuana cage is gonna be, or,
Oh, in the,
yeah,
Drug cage, and this will also have a drug cage in there as well.
with it.
Yes. Very
So we've been loading up that marijuana, and we've been going over to an incinerator in Burke Burnett. And instead of just burning it in a drum,
Crematorium?
it's not, it's Superior Pallet Company has an
Incinerator.
That stuff burns like, wow. They got that big fan that pulls that air through there, and you talk about hot. All the cattle are kinda goofy out there. Having to do
I was
that.
getting ready to say the open cockpit flyers coming around.
But all this wheel that's here, that Robert's holding and that y'all have to hold, it's all gonna migrate out there,
Yes,
right?
sir.
And the stuff we've got in different places, Linderman, what qualifies, it'll move too, right? So
It will, but we're gonna, hopefully, get some destruction orders and do a whole lot less moving as time. between now
While
and
you're,
that time.
while you're moving it,
Construction
move it
would
out.
be bad, man.
So when we go out there, we're hopefully not gonna take maybe half of what we have now.
That'd be awesome. Did we get the shelves in?
Well, y'all think
I don't
about
know.
this, let me know something.
Garland was out all last week with the flu. He's the latest victim.
Okay. Let's move on, public comments if you want. Yes, sir.
We'd like to remind everybody to keep David Stout's family
Yes,
in
sir.
their mind, the passing of Deputy Stout. Visitation tonight from 6 to 7 at Lunds, and tomorrow at 1 will be the funeral. The SO office will be shut down tomorrow afternoon for the funeral, so just keep his family in mind.
His father's a retired police officer
Yes.
from Wichita Falls, and he's in my Sunday school class. And those are some of the sweetest people. Him and Vicky both, they're good, God-fearing, good Christian people. We've been praying for David Jr.
Are you
They're
closing
awesome.
the office at noon for the rest of the day?
I would suspect at noon, I don't know if it'll be the rest of the day, the sheriff will make that decision, but at noon, we were closed for lunch. The service started at 1, so I don't know if it'll be all afternoon or the better part of the afternoon.
Okay. All right. Okay, anyone else in the audience?
Great, did you come?
Just trying to stay out of jail.
We ain't gonna let nobody put you in jail. Me and Watts will head on them.
Commissioner Harvey?
Well, I was looking here at the calendar, and it's kind of quiet. Joe Pritchard's birthday's coming up on Thursday next week. But we don't have any cooks scheduled. The next cook we have will be at the, what do you call it, the training center over there on Flood Street. Is that the rack? Something like that?
No, the rack is in our park.
No, this is the Wichita Falls.
Fire and police training center.
Yes, it's the training center over on Flood Street, and that's on the 4th,
That's what,
April 4th.
What's that for?
And they're having a bunch of people coming from all over the place for some big training deal. And it's about 100 people.
Evening meal.
noon.
Yeah, noon. No, it says 5:30 to 6:30. 5:30 to 6:30. I guess when the class is over that afternoon.
Okay. What day is that?
That is on April the 4th.
Okay, what else you got?
DAB golf tournament April 12th. It's 3 weeks out, so that's enough.
Okay, yeah, you got campfire.
Try campfire.
Okay, Commissioner Muller?
Just a lot of precinct work going on right now as we try to get ready for summertime. And we're looking at several drainage problems as we approach spring. Gonna meet with some people tomorrow and look at some areas that we've been planning on. So there's just a lot of activity out in the precinct. Sure, be careful for our road workers if you're out driving, and just help us get some of this stuff done. It'll help us move around better in the county. Sure proud of our intersection work that we've done out there. It's gonna be a major improvement for that. Be glad to get it back open in a few days.
Commissioner Watts?
we have began to grind those roads. Brogdon's done, Peyton done, packed back, and we are pleased with the way they're looking. They're on Brock Reed now, so we're moving forward with that. Once the large portion's done, we'll go back to the zipper on the other stuff. One of the things that we've done also, and keep this in mind if y'all need, the state has given us, through the contractor out there on 367, those big boxed culverts. And we are taking over 30 of those things that are 60-inch.
We went out there and looked at the ones, we're not going, they're all busted up.
No, these are brand new full box culverts.
These are not those,
Those are not the 60-inch pipes, concrete pipes that they pulled out?
No, these are square boxes.
Oh.
They
they're
fit
all
together,
covered up.
they
Well,
fit
no,
together.
They put that sign on there for precinct 2.
But the ones we looked at wrong, we
Yeah.
were gonna go load all of them
Yeah.
up.
they were breaking them.
They were all busted up.
Or were they usually the
Oh,
ones?
yes.
Oh,
They were
these are,
actually pulled out of the ground.
oh, these are all the new ones that were left over from the job that apparently they did a lot of change order.
Okay. We could certainly use some box culverts. How many are
30,
there?
Wow,
Awesome.
that'd be a big help.
and they're heavy. We got it,
We need to take a removable gooseneck trailer over there.
ours and theirs. Well, I think if we can, they were gonna bring in something to load us with there, and we can offload them, you know, everybody.
And
We got a crane.
The crane's is ready to roll.
Yeah.
We just spent some money getting it up to date, so
Okay.
if we need it, we can use it.
Well, and I think we were actually gonna use some of those on the drain, the very old drain on Brogdon Road, which is right there where these things are at. We're going to, district is gonna help us open that channel up and then put those boxes in there, because the culvert is very low in the drain and it's just grown up over time, and it's restrictive and does carry a lot of water at times.
Yeah, we could take that crane, load them on that low boy real easy, but work good.
Okay.
Right. One of our heroes would have been 100 years old today, Sonny Young.
Wow.
And I hadn't heard from Kaylin. I said, you know, we need to have a 100th birthday for him, but I'm gonna call her today and just let her know.
Who?
Kaylin, his daughter, Cy Young.
The baseball player?
World War II vet, Iwo Jima, was founder of the Iwo Jima Association.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maverick's gonna cook for a hospice, Thursday, and I will be out several afternoons as we try to get together some of the stuff on my brother's estate. So if y'all need me, holler, but I will be doing that. And, big boy, if you need any hunting gear, he had a bunch of 2X, 3X, and 4X, nice, stuff came from Cabela's. I think it opens his own store.
How much you owe for the Fat Boy stuff?
We're gonna sell it by the pound. We'll weigh the person who wants it.
Oh, my God. I'm in trouble.
We haven't done that yet. I'm gonna say, but it's gonna go, you know, if it was a $60 thing, if you know, garage sale stuff, $10 would be, you know.
Yeah.
So, but at any rate, let's move along. So, but hospice dinner is always good. Mavericks, kind of like the RCA, they just don't cook a bad meal.
No, they do.
All right, anything else?
Financial reports due April 30th, believe it or not, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they gotta do it. It's the same every year.
Yeah, I do.
Nothing changes.
And we have court Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, Commissioners.
9 a.m. Wednesday morning?
Yeah, payroll.
I don't know if I can do that or not. It's awful early to get out of bed.
Just stay
Still
up.
get paid.
One of the most important things we do.
Probably is. And then Friday will be the regular session, and we may have, I think I sent shot y'all a deal that Lance Liggett wants to come talk to us about some alternatives that we might apply for some money on some of our damages that happened due to the rains that did not get covered by FEMA.
Boss, do you want me to go ahead and get some contractors, put out a deal to come and look at that?
Well, first thing is, where will we get the money? Have we talked about that?
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Should I get some idea of what we're looking at?
Yeah, I think that's,
cost wise?
we're gonna do that, and then we can look and see
Where we're
how
at.
we're gonna do that. But that one idea of paying for that out of the road bids tax, I thought, you know,
It's a good idea.
you know, we can have that take place right after the first of next year and do that.
But I think we need to know how much money we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, but
That would help. Yeah.
Well,
But we
tax
wouldn't,
not
we
set
wouldn't
by
want
450.
to necessarily add to our tax rate in order to fund that, would we?
By a portion of a penny is what he comes up
Oh,
with.
by,
If what he's been given guesstimates
Oh.
from the highway department, the idea would be, we would do it this year and have a note that we paid it back after the first of the year.
And it would just be a portion of a penny,
Yeah.
and then once it's paid for, go back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then our adjustment in INS to begin with could take the slack out, truthfully. I mean, it might be enough to adjust, it wouldn't be a change.
And remember that what I learned in Austin last week is there is a possibility that we are gonna see something like a CTERS program again. Don't know exactly what funding level.
Yeah, but
It's in the budget, on the House side, not on the Senate side, and they're thinking when they get into conference committee, they could come up with something, so.
Did you ever call our senator?
What's that?
Did you ever call our senator?
No, but I need to do that this week. I need to get Pat involved in that because.
You know, Pat's agreed to come and speak to the veterans at the helicopter hog hunt.
Well, on just an update on the energy, I posed the question to Kerry Lovett. Both Reliant and Direct said, you know, Direct was this way all the time. Reliant matched Direct and said, we will not charge you for overage or underage, regardless, 100% either way, which is what Direct was. I posed that same question to Kerry as well. So she hasn't gotten back with me. That was Thursday of last week. So she's asking if they can remove that altogether, so we don't even have to.
Worry about
It
it.
would make it all equal.
Yeah.
Well, then we can deal with that. You can get it into equal terms.
well, I think we're still gonna have to face the deal of going out for proposal.
We'd have to go. We would at that if she
Anything
would.
put down, they can change now.
Yeah, if she would come back and say that, we'd know clearly what we needed to do. But she just thinking, I mean, she didn't give me an answer, did she?
Jeff, we got a 1:30 on with the architects.
Is that,
Yeah, today.
I didn't
Yep,
think
She
so.
called me this morning, said she'd be here at 1:30 with you guys.
Is that a work session or?
No, it's
Just you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
on.
you and the jail.
Yeah, it's on the.
Way station.
Yeah.
And on the way station, I spoke to DOT supervisor under the fine portion, just to see if they may come and walk us through a better understanding of some of those calculations. You know, one thing I wasn't aware of, and I kind of was under the impression that there are instances where trucks pay immediately, and she says not in Texas, that does not, or he said not in Texas, that doesn't happen, but the compliance of pay is very, very good. And, but I just wondered, you know, on the list of the top 20, what's our retention? What's their retention? And I wanted to see that where the regular compliance officer doesn't really know that.
We get a nickel, and they get 95 cents.
Mm.
But we're gonna charge 2% of service handling.
And then, Tommy, would your group have any update on the, all the work on the TIFs? Is there anything new there?
Yeah, I just seen an email from Spindle Media to Matt and myself, and we're just almost there. We're
Getting pretty close.
Getting pretty close. I can see getting all of our reports up there today or tomorrow, once Spindle Media does what they're doing right now.
Okay. Well, thanks for the work on City View. That sounds like that's a win-win, so coming right on. I know this will be a big burden off your back to get that TIF stuff done.
To say the least, yeah. I'll be glad when that's done.
So, we learned something through the TIF fiasco.
I've learned a lot about TIF.
I have too. I've learned a whole bunch.
The thing is, too, conversation Friday, through our software provider, and I think Jeff stumbled off into this maybe with Debbie Wheeler down at T, at down to appraisal district conference, that I think Smith County, Jeff, is using that very, very simplified formula that kind of come up around the edge of the dance floor down there at that conference. And there's a more simplistic way out there, Lee, to do this than it's ever been done. It takes a lot of this Chinese arithmetic smooth out of it. So we got to get this behind us, and then if we want to try to get a different product out the barn door, that's what we need to all sit down and talk about, where it's a lot cleaner, and you won't have this ever again.
There's too many moving parts in the way we have today. There's just so many variants on every parcel, and we're talking about accounts that have 900,000 parcels. I mean, zones that have those. So it's a full-time bookkeeper's job just to track that change across the year's time, and it's hard to do when you only do it once a year too. I mean, to me, that's, you've got to go, it doesn't matter who software spit it out for you, you still got to go back and do the legwork on it. And it seems to me that it could be modified into a format, even be more beneficial to us. I mean, it could have some retention for us a little bit there that I'm sure no one would be objective to.
Well, it's like we've said in a lot of these meetings. It's like pouring a slab that's out of square. Once that slab's out of square, that house is out of square. I don't care when you start framing it, put it in the dry. It's been out of square from day one, and it's been the gift that's been given. The gift that keeps giving. But get it cleaned up, and then try to go with a simplified formula, and I think we'll all be better for it.
And at the same time, update and clean up the language in some of our older agreements that make them unified. And
just like we did our interlocal.
So do you have the simple version formula? You have that formula?
Well, again, Jeff bumped into somebody down there, and then we had a corporate software provider, I think may have talked to Nikki, that he threw out Smith County. Now, don't quote me on that.
Yeah, he didn't give me any formula.
He didn't jump out there, but apparently there's a simple.
Greg, thanks for coming.
Apparently there's a far simplified way to do this, Lee, than doing long arithmetic.
The devil is in the details, isn't it?
It's just been out of square for a long time. Matter of fact, it's been out of square as far back as 2006.
The simplified.
That there would be somebody in the state of Texas would have a TIF deal.
Yeah, no, when I called the comptroller's office, I could tell that I had done far more work and understood it deeper than what the guy I was talking to did. He just wrote it off the phone.
There's no template then.
Well, and there ain't some place in Austin, Texas, you call them and it's like Toys R Us, it says this is Tiffs R Us. Nobody, I mean, it's a different
And
deal.
Debbie explained that to me. Debbie said that they all strayed or scared from it because it was a lot of gray stuff in there that nobody was willing to make a call on. So it's fairly vague in lots of different areas. And she said, you know, even though she spent a lot of time in that department, nobody wanted to tackle that animal. It was just a big.
That's why our agreements need to be looked at. And I don't know if anybody's willing to go back and change, or we come to some sort of a memorandum of understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But to get this isn't a nightmare for you all. And
well, what's sad is, and I shouldn't say sad, but here's the irony to some of this. We charge $1.93 per parcel, guys, okay? That's just for tax collection.
yeah.
I mean, that's just us putting statements in the mail, us working bankruptcies, then you've got this other monstrosity that the city of Wichita Falls has 3 zones for, and you couldn't have said any better, Jeff. It's a full-time position if you want to have somebody that had both hands on the steering wheel all the time.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, Judge, they're getting that for $1.93.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They're not paying nothing.
They're not paying any. There's no associated cost to them, Judge, above the $1.93 for all this work that's been entailed going on 10 months now, trying to get cleaned up.
Yeah. And see, Lee, the simplistic answer to your question is there was a base year allocation set. There is a new tax levy made each year, subtract the difference between those two, and then apply a percentage that we know absolutely 100% we're going to collect, and we have historically all of that information. We could even erode that by 1% or 2% and retain a little of that in our own pocket, but it would far simplify the endeavor of all of the moving parts that go to this thing that make it so in-depth, because one parcel can have multiple facets to it that
You're shooting at a moving target.
you're shooting at a moving target. It's one of those
But
deals.
it ain't moving at the speed of light. It's moving, one parcel may move this month, it's nothing you can't keep up with, you just have to pay attention.
Well, the problem is that you have to go down one time a year and then go through all of them so that you can make a real-time commitment. You can't do it each month and say,
As they change, you document it.
well,
You don't
it's
wait
not
till
the
the end
way
of the
it's not the way Tommy gets the information. He's provided that information at a given time.
The person that provides Tommy the information, as they come in there and subdivide that property, document it
Yes.
and turn it into the report.
Well,
It's not rocket science.
no. You can't turn it in the report. If that happened in March, let's say, and then Barry, owning the property, decides in August he's going to apply for a couple of exemptions that he's realized he's gotten, that changes that number from then. And then, by the way, November, you bid him on he subdivides again. So
Okay?
all this
Until he gets his-
transaction.
Until he gets his exemptions, he pay it. When he gets his exemption, he don't pay that no more.
I know, but I have to check that nothing changed every single month. I can't just go, well, February we had to change, and I'm not looking at none of the rest of the months. I gotta look at every single month, every time.
But you only look at the paperwork that comes in. When the request comes in, you don't have to go check each and every account. Every one of them has got some kind of paper trail that comes in and tells you they're changing.
They don't. That's why we owe that's why we owe 180,000. They don't do it that way. It doesn't work that simple. Because you miss them, you're not given the stuff. Somebody's dropped the ball on coding it wrong, or didn't put it in the zone right, or they retained one number and kicked out two.
Well,
and-
it sounds like to me we need to do some training or change people.
Well, we need to look at the process.
It's a
Never
hard
looked at it
process.
at this level
No.
that you all have got now. And so what we've got a chance is to square this up and have a process that connects all of this information.
You're not in the notification loop, sounds like.
I love the spreadsheet, the bookkeeping of a spreadsheet deal, but I'm telling you guys, this is far more in depth than what anybody can touch. One parcel can have so many change, and the volume of the parcels is too great. That's another thing that just kills it. If we're talking about 50 parcels and you could run through them and look and see, I mean, not bad, but
Talking about
1,000 parcels.
Okay, but only 50 don't change.
I know, but the problem is you gotta look through 1,000 in order to determine which 50 change.
If you're having to do that, then you're stupid.
I'm telling you, you have to do
You don't
that.
know your job, you're not doing it right.
Well,
Or you're not getting
software is not-
notification. You're not
Okay,
getting
we're not gonna
notified.
solve this here
Yeah.
now.
No, and our software is not designed to track a TIF. It's designed to appraise property. So we're kind of bending it to make it give us all the things it needs to spit out for a TIF parcels 1 through 1,000, and all the deals. It's just not set up that way. It was never built that way. It adapts to it. Like Tommy's Spindle won't let him tag those accounts the way that Lisa's software will do. So it's just a hard, cumbersome process.
Tommy, was there some discussion of you and Appraisal District using the same software? I heard something.
We've had a presentation, Judge, and we're still in the early infancy stages of that. I will tell you, if our office and the appraisal district were both speaking the same language, this may have come to surface a whole lot sooner. But Lisa's office uses a different software. We call it True Automation. We're Spindle Media. But I mean, Lee, I'll tell you, hey, until you sit down and like Jeff said, and start looking at spreadsheets on this, hey, it's the most fractured, disjointed thing that I've ever seen.
But as you realize, there's information missing off your spreadsheet.
Yep, and it's.
Hang on, then you know where that information's supposed to come from. You go to that person and you say, when this changed, how come I didn't know about it? Oh, do you need to know about it? Yes, I need to know about it. So when this happens, I need notification so I can update my spreadsheet. So I have to look through all 1,000 parcels. You go to that person who's making the change somewhere, title company, this city or county clerk's office, all that's filed somewhere. When that stuff is filed, it should be shared with the appraisal district's office, then the appraisal district shares it with you.
And they do. They share it with Tommy. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
not saying
corporate.
they share, they don't share, I'm saying they share wrong information.
That happens. That's our whole problem right here. We're going back through and Tommy's got to audit, and then Tommy will get audited for his work on it, and then you got a player in the hunt that really don't want to spend a lot of time giving it to you, because it's just like Tommy said, they ain't getting paid to do none of that. Why do I need to give my hands at the appraisal district to go down and start working for that? I got other work to do. Doing a TIF, justifying a TIF is not in my,
Yeah, it is.
I didn't sign up for that work.
Sign up to be our appraisal district.
Doesn't involve that.
Yes, it does.
No,
Yes,
no.
it does.
I praise the value of the property. I don't have to gear up to
Okay, each
help
property,
you
every
do
time
that.
it's subdivided, you gotta appraise that property, right?
I do.
Okay, apparently it's not being, that information not being passed on to the tax assessor collector.
No, it's not. That's what our problem was.
Well, there you go.
But it wasn't intentionally done, Lee.
I understand that, but now that you see where the problem is, you can fix it by saying, hey, when this changes, when anything changes, everybody needs to be notified. And when Nikki sees something on her email, hey, parcel number such and such was subdivided. Oh, Nikki's holding you to my spreadsheet, fixing that right now. Do it all year long when it happens. And at the end of the year, it's done. It's all about communication.
Yeah.
And they have to come through this county in some shape, form, or fashion to do that, because they wind up at the appraisal district. Whether they subdivide it through a title company or attorney or whatever, it's coming to that appraisal district.
Yeah, that's how we get it.
But it sounds like to me the appraisal district is not notified when something is, always notified when something is subdivided.
No, I think they'll eventually catch it. It will, in one shape, form, or fashion, whether it's early enough to be counted or it gets caught. But that's our problem. I mean, just like right now, playing catch up is a killer.
But once we get caught up, we shouldn't have to play catch up.
No, I'm just
Anymore.
saying there's a simpler way to have to look at it, because Tommy's just finishing his piece. You still paid your entities. Somebody else gonna look at it for and scrutinize it and go through every single one of those lines to make sure that Nikki looked at line 22 never changed. It hadn't changed in 3 years, but we're gonna look through it and we're gonna pull up and see if 22 had any changes. We're gonna do all that. And we're paying money for somebody to do that out of mine and your coffers here.
Jeff, it's the law. We're following the law.
No.
The law was
No.
not well written.
Well, it's still the law.
No, it's not the law, Lee. We had never done it before. Why? I'm just saying it's something that should be done. It's a good practice, don't misunderstand me, but it's an expensive practice that if you had a different format, you wouldn't have to do it.
You have some counties that have TIF offices, that's all they do.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Tarrant County's got one.
Yeah, Tarrant County does.
Oh, and it's,
That's all they handle, Lee.
Now,
It's TIF.
but they have more than 5.
I'm telling you.
yeah, and they're big and huge
I'm
and,
just saying, we can figure this out and we can communicate. We can do it.
oh,
We
yeah.
just didn't understand we needed to do it until we got audited. Now, once we audit this and we get it through and everything is right, we will know that everybody's on the same page and everybody knows how this works now. And might not need to do anything but a spot audit in the future, because I'm glad to do the audit, because we're doing it wrong. Right?
Yeah, I
So
mean.
now we're gonna get it right, everybody's gonna be educated on it, and we're gonna know what we need, what information we need. So the auditor's probably not gonna do every line, every year, because she doesn't need to. She can do a spot audit. So we can do this.
And there's plenty of effort being made in doing that and looking for software that will gather all of this input and put it together. And I think that's the biggest thing.
That
is
sure
finding
helps.
Software that will bring in the input. But you're right, if you don't get it put in, it's not gonna happen.
How do they know?
All right, let's call it a day. It's 12:13.